Ladies and gentlemen of COA Middle School, it is so great to be here live and live stream this presentation to the rest of COA on etiquette. And what better time than just before.
You know what? I think it just started right now.
All right, we'll do it again. COA Middle School. It is such a neat opportunity to live stream all of you students today on a presentation on etiquette, on manners. You see, here we are the last day before the break, getting ready for Thanksgiving, and what better time of the year to be involved and to focus on etiquette, on your manners. Now, if you look at this, you'll see that it's how genuine you are. It's how friendly you are, your behavior, your culture, your philosophy. It's how you present yourself to others. It's your brand. Does anybody in here understand what brand means? I'm going to go to the guy in the back. Real loud. What's brand mean to you? What's it mean?
Like your own type of person. Like your own person being yourself.
Your own person, you yourself. Give me a hand. I like that. Very good. I'm going to give you an example right now. I know we have a few minutes, but I'm going to give you one example of brand and how important that is. Okay? The other day, I don't usually go to fast food places, but the other day I went to a Carl's Jr. I was hungry. I didn't have much time. I had to get through there and grab something and get on. It was 15 minutes in the drive-through line. Yeah, 15 minutes in the drive-through line. That didn't really get me excited. And then when I got up to the cashier, the person said to me, that'll be $14.74. I said, okay, and I gave him $15. He then went and got my food, and he got my drink, and he gave it to me, and handed me a straw, and I said, no, I don't want a straw. So he just shut the window, and I said, hey. And he goes, you want the straw? I go, no, I want my change. So he gave me 4 nickels. What's wrong with that? Sir.
You could have given me 1 quarter.
A quarter and
10 cents.
a penny, right? 26 cents. But he didn't know how to make change. He says, well, I gave you 4 nickels. I go, that's not change. That's not 26 cents. He didn't say, I'm sorry. He didn't say, he didn't apologize. He didn't use any kind of service to me as an individual. And that's my first impression that day of Carl's Jr. Now, all of you are going to get jobs in the future, and maybe beginning jobs. And so what the young man in the back said, it's who you are. It's about you. It's your friendliness. It's your social manners. It's how you treat others. That's going to be the impression, the brand for that company that you work for. Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to tell you,
Yeah.
although Carl Jr. wasn't the best first impression, and now it's always the best. So friendly, so nice.
She said, although Carl's Jr.'s isn't the best, In-N-Out is the best. And you're exactly right. And that's why there's always a long line at In-N-Out, because they do it correctly. They teach you how to do it correctly. They pay you a good salary in order to do it correctly. And that was my second example. I was going to say In-N-Out. I think Chick-fil-A does the same kind of a thing, in which they talk about etiquette. They talk about manners. They talk about the individual. Yes?
Chick-fil-A has more cards than In-N-Out does.
They do. You're right. But they get them through, and they make you feel good about that. Now, fast forward About 3 weeks ago, I came here to Community Outreach Academy Middle School, to your school. And I was greeted at the desk. And the young person that was there at the desk said to me, "Welcome to our school." So positive, so bright and shining. "I need to take care of a couple of students here, and then I'll be right back to you." So smart. Made me feel good, told me exactly what was going to happen, and did it. They then came back to me, and they treated me in a respectful way. They referred to me as sir. They just did everything in a positive way in terms of manners. That's the first impression I have of this school. Now, that person at the desk, was representing the principal, the vice principal, the teachers, the students of this school, to parents, to strangers, to service people who come in here, and it was a positive experience. That's the difference. That's taking a brand and moving it to the next level. So when we talk about etiquette, we talk about expectations, rules of conduct, to be polite to one another. Another example, have any of you ever been in a situation where you're outside before school or in between classes, and you're with your friends just talking? Does that happen almost every day, right? And all of a sudden you see a student or a teacher walking with a large group of books in their hands. And they try to get in the door, but they're trying to juggle and open the door at the same time. What are you thinking? What are you thinking when you see that? Right, nice and loud. I want to hear it.
I would be the first person to open that door or help them with the book.
And say to your friends, "Excuse me a minute," right? And immediately go over there and help them by opening the door. Is that the polite thing to do?
Yes.
Is that the expected thing to do?
Yes. It's the right thing to do.
Is that the right thing to do?
Yes.
If there is one slogan, one set of words that represent what you believe in life, and maybe I'll start it for you. Treat others
How you want to be treated.
how you want to be treated. Is that true?
Yes.
And you do that everywhere. You do that in competition with someone else. You do it in the classroom. You do it at home. You do it at church. You do it in the community. Treat others the way you want to be treated. That is etiquette. That is manners. Yes, ma'am.
There's also another phrase of how people say, "What goes around comes around."
What goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. I'll tell you another one, and I just posted this yesterday. If you talk negative to people, what will happen?
You get better.
You get negative. If you talk positive to people, what do you get?
You get positive.
What you think and what you say and your actions and your manners is what you receive. Let me give you an example. If I come to you and I say, "Don't do this," all you're going to hear is, "Do this." You're not going to hear the don't. You shut down the negatives. So it would be better for me to come to you and say, "I suggest that you do this in a positive way," and tell you what that is. And then listen. What's the word? Listen to what you say. That's where I think a lot of times, when you talk about etiquette, etiquette is listening to the other person and what they believe and what they're feeling and how they want to get things done. It's actions, like you said, like this young lady back there said, it's actions where you stop what you're doing and you help somebody else. We have two hands. Is that true? One hand to pull us forward and one hand to pull others forward with us. So we want to take care of our faith. We want to take care of our family. We want to take care of our friends. And we want to take care of others. That's the proper way. That's the code of being the best that you can be. Give me an example from one of you out there, one or two. Put your hand up and I'll point to that one and we'll talk about it. A way in which you used manners, you used kindness, you used who you are to help somebody else. Anybody? Yes, ma'am, right here.
I got to help an old lady yesterday across the road.
Help an elderly person who obviously had some physical restrictions. You helped her across the road. You took the time to do that. How'd you feel afterwards?
I felt accomplished.
Felt good inside?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I helped a lady from the store. She dropped some of her bags. She had a whole handful of them, and I helped her pick them up and helped her walk to the car with me.
How many times have we seen that happen at the store, whether it be the grocery store or in the parking lot, someone struggling? How many times? Huh? And yet you took the time to go and do that. Yes, ma'am. You had one in the backpack there. Nice and loud.
I helped mom with my groceries.
You help mom with the groceries at
My
home.
mom.
Your
My
mom. Yeah, your mom. Is that the right thing to do? And you become a role model. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have 4, yeah.
4 brothers and sisters?
Oh, 3 sisters.
Three, okay.
Fourth one.
Yeah, it's okay. There seems to be 4 there sometimes, I'm sure. You have 3, and yet that becomes a role model to the rest of the family that they then want to help mom. They want to do what you do. Did I see another hand up out there? Someone who helped someone recently? No? Yeah, I thought I did.
Yesterday, I helped my friend pick the rest of his food.
I helped your friend.
Yesterday, I helped my friend pick the rest of his food.
Oh, right. That's outstanding. And in this classroom that we're talking about right now, etiquette happens each day. Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you team up? Do you team up and take on projects together?
Yeah.
Give me an example. Can you give me an example? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because like we do Husky News, so we're all in like a group and we all have to help each other put together a project that we put into one video. So it's like all teamwork.
And you aren't necessarily friends outside of this room. Is that true? I mean, you are friends outside this room, but you're not best friends outside this room, right? And yet you have to work together as a team to be able to get that project done. Yes, ma'am.
And working together is pretty hard, especially with new people. Like you don't know them, so you technically just kind of like have to get used to them. And after a while, you put your more and more trust into them, and then you start having fun actually hanging out with them, and then being more and more friendly together.
Oh, some great words there. She talked about trust. She talked about you don't really know. You get to learn the members of the class, and you get to trust them more and more as you go along. I think that's true. That's real life. That's real life. And when we talk about etiquette, we talk about branding, we talk about first impressions. That's what we've talked about so far. Each and every one of you is doing that and learning that through the teamwork that you provide to be able to put together your project, okay? And so what I want to emphasize here is that that brand is also a legacy. Does anybody know what the word legacy means? Is that yes? What's legacy?
After you pass on, that's what
It's how you want to be remembered, right? How you want to be remembered by this teacher, how you want to be remembered by your classmates, how you want to be remembered by your parents and the administration here. That's your legacy. And as a part of that brand, you have a resume. Who here wants to get a job? Whoa, every hand in the room went up. Who here has a job right now? I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you have jobs right now as 7th, 8th graders, junior high kids, right? Junior high kids. Junior high men and women is who you are because you're pulling your load. You are working to help yourself and help your family. And so that brand, that etiquette, that good form that we're talking about here, that culture of who you are will make a difference. If you get an award at this school for Student of the Month, you get a little certificate, you need to add that to your resume. Because if you are out there trying to get a job, you are competing with people that are 30, 40, 50 years old. Do you realize that? And so you have to be able to show to them, the employer, what kind of person you are. You need to be able to go to this teacher, to be able to go to your administration and get a letter from them that says what kind of a person you are in terms of your attendance, your attitude, your grades, what kind of a person you are in terms of your etiquette, your manners, and show that to a potential employer in order to get that job. And with that job, you could get an even better one, and a better one, and a better one. Your teacher was sharing with me earlier, before we started, that a student here has a job, maybe got it through parents, I don't know. We don't know how they got it. But actually he's making $12 an hour. $12 an hour. First job I ever had, I made 65 cents an hour. So it's all in perspective, you know, it all works out. But when the young lady in the back talked about In-N-Out burgers, anybody can flip burgers. Anybody can work in a fast food place. But if you can get a job at In-N-Out, if you can get a job at Chick-fil-A, you can get an incredible job with benefits. And how do you get there? It's based on your legacy, your resume. It's based on how you treat others. The positiveness of how you treat others. I had a situation, a great job. I owned my own business for 20 years. And I volunteered my time. I would go to schools and volunteer my time to put on presentations like this. But I had a business. I have this ability, ladies and gentlemen, to see color really well. Most men are colorblind. A high percentage of men are colorblind. But I see color really well. So I had a paint store. And if you came to me and you said, I want a can of paint the same color as this orange stool there, I could do that. It was a skill that I had that I did not necessarily enjoy, but I had it. And people would pay me for that, okay? Which made my wife and children very, very happy to have that money. And so I did that for 20 years. But I always kept my true heart in it. And that was working with kids and working with families and working with people. So I would volunteer my time to do that. As it turned out, because I did that for 20 years, the Sacramento River Cats, any of you ever heard of the Sacramento River Cats? AAA baseball team here in town. They came to me and they said, Tony, we want you to be a vice president with us in community relations. Wow. My whole time on this planet, since I was this big, I loved baseball. I wanted to be a professional baseball player. I wanted to be a part of a baseball team. But I'm 5'6". I'm not 6'5". I don't hit a ball 400 feet. I didn't have the ability from a skill standpoint to get there. But now this baseball team is coming to me and asking me to work for them. To be the face of the baseball team. To have good manners, etiquette, to solve problems and challenges with positiveness. So they said, would you do that? I said, oh man, that would be fantastic. They said, but you have a business. I said, yeah, give me about 15 minutes and I'll shut it down. And I did. And I went to work for that baseball team for 13 years. I was part of 4 national championships. I got to meet people that I only dreamed about meeting. And I got to work with thousands and thousands and thousands of kids like yourselves out in the community tied to that baseball team. And we taught. When you go out front here, you'll see it. There's a sign out in front of this school that talks about attitude, attendance, and academics. They got that from me when I came here years ago. And that was part of the program that I did. That if every day you have a positive attitude, do we choose our attitude each day?
Yes.
Yes, we do. If you come with a positive attitude, you show up. You become the Cal Ripken Jr. of this school. You show up every day. Your academics are going to soar. And all these years later, as I'm walking in this morning, I look up and I see that sign. Attitude, attendance, academics. And I think, what a joyful, joyful message that is. And kids are seeing it. Kids are seeing it. I saw a hand come up in the back here, this young lady, as I was starting. Do you remember what you wanted to bring up?
Yes.
Yes.
You don't own your paint shop anymore.
I don't. I got rid of that paint store, and it doesn't exist anymore. Things changed, over the years, and so that paint isn't sold anymore. And that paint store now is they sell furniture. It's on Broadway, and which is really kind of interesting because it's right across from the Target store on Broadway. And as a youngster, when I was your age, that was a baseball. That Target store was a baseball stadium here in Sacramento, and I used to go with my parents and go watch the games there. So it's funny how things happen. If you stay in the same place long enough, things happen differently. Was there something? Did I see another hand? No? Yes, sir.
The Target store near South State.
Target store on Broadway.
Where's Broadway?
It's downtown,
Yeah.
where the Tower Theater and Tower Records used to be. Tower Records down there. It's right down main part of downtown. That's where my store was. Okay. So in terms of etiquette, we want to talk about interaction. Now, recently, I get a chance to kind of watch your school from the outside through social networking and through the Facebook and as well as Instagram. And I see some incredible things happening at the school. I see your message that comes out each week. And I got to tell you, watching this last one on Thanksgiving, that was outstanding. Made me really feel good. Actually told me a couple of things that I didn't know before, that you guys shared about how Thanksgiving traditions came about. But I also know that teamwork is the character trait for this month. And next month, it'll be responsibility. And I've seen this school try and unify students through competition, through relays, through events at lunchtime. And I actually got to go to your leadership class yesterday, talk to the teacher there, and he was talking about 85 students. You only have in your school about 350 students. But 85 students in your school signed up for this competition. And I asked him, I said, if you look at this list, how many of these kids are involved in activities here? Through leadership, through sports, through all different kinds of things. He said, well, quite a few. And I said, so what about this group? He said, no, they don't do anything else. But they wanted to do this. They wanted to come and be a part of the team. The team. Why? Because you guys are worth it. Because you're worth it. Now, one of the things about your school that I wish I could snap my fingers and make happen is I wish you would have this beautiful facility here. You do the best with what you have. Is that true? There are times when you come to school and you see dry rot being pulled out of the girders over there, and you think, oh my goodness, is this really where I'm at? It's where you're at. But it's what you do to make that better. This classroom right here, what you do in terms of your messages to the students, you make this school better. And by doing that, each and every one of you become better. I would not be surprised if I didn't, 10 years from now, when you hit your 20s, see some of you as interns on Channel 3 or on Channel 10 or some kind of social media, whatever that changes to in 10 years down the road, because of the experience that you got right here. And the feelings that you got, genuine, friendly feelings that you got from educators right here. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we want to get things done really quick. We want to get to the best possible place that we can be in a short period of time. But the fact of the matter is, we get there one step at a time. And every time we reach a challenge, every time something negative comes up to us, and we deal with that in a positive way to overcome that challenge, we become better and better and better at what we do. How do I know that? Because I've been where you are. I've been at times in the lowest place that you could be. And at other times I've smelled and seen the fresh air at the top of the mountain. And when you overcome challenges, when you have failures, that's when you learn. That's when you learn. So we've talked about several things today. We've talked about etiquette. We've talked about code of conduct, rules, things that we need to follow. We've talked about norms and philosophy, culture, how to be polite, how to reach out to others when they need help, to give what you have to give. We've talked about all of those things. We've talked about the brand that you are creating right now here at this school and how that brand is going to make a difference down the road. This teacher right here isn't do this job for the money, because he doesn't make anything really based on the money. But I want to tell you, how many years have you taught?
Over 10.
Over 10. And have you had students from that first group come back to you and say, you made a difference?
Yes.
That's what he lives for. That's the joy in his life. And that's the joy that you're going to be able to give to others. Give to others. Tell them thank you. Tell them how important they are in your life. That's what being a person of high moral standards, etiquette, is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, COA Middle School. This next week is Thanksgiving week, and next Thursday is Thanksgiving. Open your heart and be thankful for all of the beautiful things that you have. For I am thankful that you gave me this opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you so much. Have a great week.
This is life.